When we think about the Christian life, like what is the goal of the Christian life? We often think of it in terms of going to heaven, right? Going to heaven after we die, this idea of the afterlife. And in fact, this is an idea that's shared in common with many other religions. You can think of, for example, of this idea of this paradise for Islam, or even nirvana for the Buddhists, or Valhalla for the Vikings. So this is an idea that's shared in common with many other ideas about faith, about religion. But the Bible actually gives us a different image, in addition, that's rather unique, I would say. That's the idea not just of us going to heaven, but of heaven coming down to us, right here on this earth. And that's what we see in the second reading today from the book of Revelation. This is the series of the Apostle John, his visions of heaven and of the life to come. And here in chapter 21, we see this one vision of the holy city, a new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. And he says, "Behold, God's dwelling is with the human race. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people." This is what we might call the city of God. This renewed human community on earth where God reigns directly, where he dwells with them. And it's coming. It's falling down out of heaven, so to speak. There's different ways. I keep trying to imagine what the vision would have actually looked like. Maybe try and picture it yourself. How is the city coming down out of heaven? In my imagination, there's bricks and walls flying down from the clouds and assembling themselves on the ground until it's all put together. But that's what the Bible's presenting with us here. This vision of God's city coming down to us. And this is an important point. This vision is not just about the second coming of Jesus, when Jesus comes back to reign on the earth. It does refer to that. It's also referring to right now. The city of God is a reality right now. How do we know this? St. Paul talks about it in his letter to the Ephesians, where he says that he's writing to Christians, you are fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God, with Christ Jesus himself being the cornerstone, in whom the whole structure is joined together and grows into a holy temple in the Lord. So you also are built into him for a dwelling place of God in the Spirit. So Paul is writing to the Christians in the present, right now. Already he's saying that we're fellow citizens with the saints, with the heavenly city. And that city is already growing. It's already being built up. And this is because Jesus in his resurrection is the beginning of this new Jerusalem, this new dwelling place of God. Because he is the dwelling place of God with man, the new temple. After his resurrection, God's power and his presence is flowing through Jesus to us into the earth. And so that's why the city of God for us Christians begins right now. In another passage, this is from the letter to the Philippians, Paul says, our commonwealth is in heaven. And actually the word there is more literally our city, our politics, if you will, our way of life in common with each other is in heaven right now. There's also a beautiful hymn that is sung in Liturgy of the Hours at Easter time. It's the choir of the New Jerusalem. And one verse, it praises Jesus saying, he triumphs, filled with splendid light, in sovereign power and majesty. He forms a single commonwealth, one native land of heaven and earth. So heaven and earth are being joined together. Even now, Jesus is doing this. He's the connection point between us and God, between heaven and earth. And so this means that Jesus doesn't just come to save us as individual people, just by ourselves. He also came to sanctify us as a group, as a community. He came to sanctify human society as a whole, to give us a new way of life, a new way of living together, a heavenly civilization, if you will, in this new city of God. Okay, but maybe here's what you're thinking. How do we enter into the city of God? If this is a present reality, even here and now, like, what does that mean? How do we actually get there or experience it? Well, simply speaking, it's actually just the church. Jesus' Catholic, that is universal, gathering of disciples spread out throughout all the earth. The church is the entry point into the city of God, the city of heaven, the heavenly Jerusalem. And guess what? That means we're at this entry point right now. We're experiencing, in a way, the city of God literally right now, here at Mass, gathered around Jesus. Because to have the life of God within you in faith and the sacraments, particularly in the Eucharist, is to have the dwelling of God within you, and you dwell with him. That's the definition of the city of God, the place where God dwells. In a special way, I want to talk to the first communicants as well, like those of you receiving your first communion. There's a lot of different ways to think about communion, about receiving the Eucharist, receiving Jesus in the Eucharist. One of my favorite ways to think about communion is that it's precisely this, like Jesus is going to come and dwell within you, like he lives within you. Of course, you've known him before now, but now he's going to be there in a special way. In a way, it's like you're going to become a temple for Jesus. This temple, this place where God dwells. Like maybe you learned about the tabernacle, right? In your classes and things. The tabernacle is that little place, that box where we keep the Eucharist. Well, it's like you're going to be like your own tabernacle for Jesus, own little tabernacles for him. So he'll be with you. And so that means from now on, wherever you go, you're going to take him with you. He's going to be with you, playing with your friends, going to school, with hanging out with your family. You'll carry Jesus with you. So be aware of that. That means that wherever the presence of God goes, he transforms our everyday life into life with him. And that's how we begin to live in the city of God. And so every parish and every home, every Christian home, which is a domestic church, becomes an outpost of the city of God, so to speak. Okay, maybe another question, though. Okay, we're entering into the city of God. What does that mean, though? How do we live in the city of God? Like what does this look like, practically speaking? Well, Jesus in the gospel gives us the answer. Love. He gives us the new commandment to love one another as I have loved you, so you also should love one another. Love is what works to create the city of God here on earth. Every act of love, every act of generosity, service, kindness, sacrifice for the other person makes our life together a little bit more like the heavenly city of God. One other thing to remember about the passage from Revelation is that it's all about presence, the presence of God, the dwelling place of God. And so our love has to match that kind of presence as well. I think that's one of the most powerful ways that we can show the love of Christ, simply to be a loving presence with others, even in simple ways, quiet ways, even when we can't do much else. This love as presence with the other, and in that way sharing the presence of God we have received with those around us. If we do this, then we will build up and live in what great St. John Paul II called the civilization of love, which is exactly the same thing as the city of God. So keep in mind, this is not really something all that new. It's going to look just like the normal Christian life of prayer, conversion of life, sacraments. But maybe in light of this idea of the city of God, you can go about it with a different mindset. It's not just about you. It's not just about this one-on-one, like individual relationship with Jesus. It's also about entering into a new kind of human community. a new kind of life together with your fellow Christians, together around God. Remembering that he saves us, he sanctifies us, but he also draws us together into one body, into one society, this unity. And he wants the renewal of society. Okay, one last thing. Maybe there's an objection in mind. If we already live in the city of God, like scriptures say, how come it doesn't feel like it? Because it doesn't always feel like it. We're called to live in this renewed community where we're living in love and the presence of God. Why do we still see so much hatred, division, jealousy, violence, all of these things contrary to the city of God? If it's already a present reality, then what gives? Why still all this difficulty? It's one of the interesting mysteries of Christ. And we have this phrase that it's already here, but still not yet. Already, but not yet. That's kind of the mystery of the resurrection that we've been living out in Easter. Christ has already risen and conquered death and sin. And yet, his work is not quite complete until his second coming. But he's left his disciples in the church to carry on that work, to, with his grace, prepare a place for him when he comes. This is what we long for, a renewed society, a renewed way of life. And it's coming. You have your own role to play in that, in building up the city of God. Brick by brick, as it were, deed by deed, grace upon grace, the New Jerusalem is being built on earth by God through you as it comes down from heaven. I'm very grateful to have seen glimpses, so many examples of this city, this way of life, including some examples during my time here, at this parish and in your families. I know it's real because I've seen it. I've seen the effect that Christ has on lives and the effect that love, true Christian love in families and in parishes can have. It's real. Believe in it. Trust in him. Continue onwards. Remembering that your homeland is in heaven, already here and in the life to come.